Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's time for FMTV Weekly. How you doing, everybody? I am Peter Brown. We've got a lot to talk about. I was just going through it. Lots of topics, obviously. We're talking about who's to blame a little bit tonight because when I look around online, I see a lot of people pointing fingers. So it's not so much about us here pointing blame, but just want to talk about it. Plus, we got several other topics, but I don't talk about this stuff by myself. I have to talk to somebody, and it has to be Uncle Ed. Say hi, Ed.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for watching Futbol Miami TV. And man, Peter, there's so much to talk about. And one of the things I wanted to bring up right before we go anywhere is Peter was on the Atlanta show. What's the name of that show, by the way?
Oh,
I forgot. Atlanta Fan something, I think it was. But it's a pretty popular show that everybody in Atlanta talks. They're constantly watching. And Peter Brown was on there doing a preview. So if you guys haven't caught that, we're going to put it on. Well, I'm going to put the link on this video once it's over. So you guys are going to go check that out because you broke it down really well, Peter.
Did I do all right?
Yeah, you did. You did good.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember the name of the show and the name of the it's Atlanta United Fan something. TV. That's it. Atlanta United Fan TV. That's it. They're good guys, real good guys. I got to talk a lot with AJ. This guy's got the voice, man. If you watch that, he's like all deep. He's got the right voice for this.
Yeah, he sounds like a radio personality. I thought you had that radio personality, but man, that guy's got a voice, and man, he can talk forever, and you'll be like soothing through it. You can even go to sleep listening to that voice.
Yeah, he's doing good. So yeah, we're gonna actually at some point we'll have them on our show as well. I guess next time we play Atlanta, so sometime next year. But it's kind of cool reaching out, talking to other channels out there that are doing something similar to what we're doing. They've been doing it a little bit longer because they've had an MLS team a little bit longer. But we broke down the Atlanta game, which didn't go so well. But we'll get into all of that very soon. Before we do that, I do want to mention our sponsors and give a big thanks to our main sponsor, and that is Caneswear. Go to Caneswear at the store in Davie. They've been having a lot of get-togethers there before the Hurricane games, because that's a place you want to go. If you want to buy any Miami Hurricane gear, that is definitely the place to go. Heck, it's in the name. But they also have an amazing selection of Inter Miami fan wear, the best selection I've seen in town. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in an upcoming video that we've got coming out. But it's a great store. If you can't get to Davie, go online to caneswear.com and shop there. Plus, we also want to say a thank you to Vargas Law Group. This is our immigration lawyer. If you have any questions on immigration law, call Vargas Law Group. Go to vargaslaw.com, and actually let me remove our little logo, though, so you can see his phone number, 786-474-1278. Federico's a great guy. He's a big Inter Miami fan, and he also happens to know immigration law.
Yeah, for anybody that needs and has questions about immigration, and you got an old uncle, a cousin, or somebody that wants that wants to stay in the United States, or somebody that wants to move here, call Federico. He'll hook you guys up, and don't forget to mention Futbol Miami TV.
Yeah, exactly. Mention us on both occasions. If you go to Caneswear, mention Futbol Miami TV as well. Helps us out and lets them know that their sponsorship is paying off. Yeah, so they help bring this great content to you.
They sure do. So, Peter, let me say hello to these people who've been on incredibly early talking about this subject. You put it out there. Who's to blame? Let's start off with the good Judge Dread the Law, who he just started the conversation in the chat room. We've also got B King, one of our followers. He was, I don't know if he went to there was a watch party in Hollywood. I don't know if he was able to get out there. I wasn't able to get out there, man.
I was thinking about going, but I did not because Man, Ed, we could talk about it a little bit later, but I was tired. I was tired after cutting, trimming bushes and stuff like that. So,
I hear you, man. Once you got a house, you got to do, what you got to do at home. So let's also say hello to Jazz Fusion. He's a great follower as well. He's been watching us for a while. We also have a footballer who, of course, sticks a needle in me.
So let's read that. Let's read that.
Of course you would.
Let's read that. It's up on the screen. Good evening, football fans. Let's get this football talk show started already with Batman of Football Talk, Peter Brown, and last but not least, his sidekick, Robin equals Uncle Ed.
Wow, that's I guess I'm your sidekick now. So
I think that's
don't you?
Oh, I love it. I think that might stick. One World, One Goal, who I don't see in here yet, but she was trying to call you the king. And footballer brings you back down
to earth. No, I'm
down
no
to But think about it. Okay, if you're going to be a sidekick, right? That means you're in that show, Titans. Have you seen that show on the DC Comics universe or whatever, Titans?
Yeah, I've actually seen it. It's pretty good.
Robin is a badass in that show.
He is.
All right.
Is.
Let me. So I got your back a little bit here.
But he's the Robin that dies. If you follow, the comic books,
they all die, right? I mean, doesn't Jason Todd die too?
He comes back. So,
but he died.
Yeah, but he dies. So he becomes a Red Hood or something like that. But let's not, ruin it for all our, comic book fans who maybe haven't read that much like we have, because we're nerds. So who else we got, Peter? Man, there's a big
One World, One Goal is in here. Saludos mi gente. Who's to blame? It's only an hour show.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we're going to be on it. And then I'll tell you, man, there's also MB. He's in here because there's been a lot of talk between everybody.
He's talking smack already. Orlando's getting crushed on Saturday.
Wow. Well, we're going to see. That's going to be a good one, Peter. You got to go to that one if they let us in. We still don't know all the 411 on that, if they're going to let all the players in. But that's it for now, at least from people who have signed in on the chat room and have started talking. So if you guys are on there, leave us a quick message. We'll mention you for a little bit. And let's start this conversation, Peter.
Yeah, let us know you're here. Yeah, we've got a few things to talk about. So when I was creating the title of this, I'm sitting there having coffee in the morning, just thinking about what do I want to name this show. And as I was doing it, Ed, I started to really read a lot of comments. And the comments were from fans all over the place. We're blaming Higuain, blaming Alonso, blaming our defense. And trust me, there was plenty of blame to go around. They were going crazy, blaming everybody. So it made me wonder, who is to blame? And should we be blaming anybody? But here's the thing. The fans are blaming somebody. They're getting upset. They're blaming people. So that's where the title came from. And so, who do you think is to blame? And it's a first-year team. We got to give them some slack. It's been a tough year, but how many excuses can we have? Nashville, who we thought was going to be we were going to be better than Nashville. Heck, we talked to Chris Marazzo from Nashville, and we asked him, who do they have? And he's like, well, really nobody. And meanwhile, they're doing much better than we are.
Sure are.
So you got to start looking at what's going on.
Let's start with the coach, Peter. The thing I've kept telling you about Alonso is that he has, he didn't build this team.
Right.
So we kind of give him a little bit of slack because it's not the players that he picked. He got on board and most of the players were already on here. So what do we do, Peter? What do we do about, do we blame him? Do we need another coach? I'm still thinking it's not really his fault. It's Paul McDonough, who's the one that picked all these players. And it's basically told Alonso, hey, man, you're the coach. Do something with these guys. Make it work. So that's where he's at, trying to make it work. And it's not working. And then what can we do? The defense. The defense, I think, is our main problem. The lack of concentration. He's moved players around. We're missing players. But the missing players were also not playing that well. I mean, everybody's been making mistakes in the back. and that's really cost us. And it's like we can't hold the lead for our lives, Peter. We score a goal, I don't know, we lose concentration, and they score one right, immediately after. So what are we going to do with our defense? I mean, why can't we hold on to a result? That's my two. If I go after anybody, I think it's going to be after the defense. But
yeah, well, so I mean, I think there was a lot of problems in the last game, but at the same time, let's not get too down on ourselves. We did have a bit of a win streak going, the first ever. We've won 2 games in a row, so let's not be too down on ourselves. But the wheels did seem to fall off a little bit. Keep in mind, Montreal is a better team than Atlanta, and we looked good against Atlanta, so we felt good. Hey, we look great against Atlanta. Breck Chase, always scoring goals against Atlanta, and well, he scored one last night too. But so you can't get too down on the team, but they do have a problem with giving up that goal just before, right after they score. It's like you could pretty much guarantee it's going to happen relatively quick. And even the announcers were talking about it, about there's that 10-minute gap where you got to be really concerned and worried as to what's going to happen. So yeah, there's probably, you got to go back to Ben Sweat. We constantly talk. He's up and down. He's been to blame for some of these goals. I mean, he's up and down. But the weird thing is Alonso, no matter how good or bad Ben Sweat plays, he sticks with him.
He loves him. There's something.
He loves him.
Got to be something there. Yeah. When they've got that love affair going, and he's got a lot of faith in him. He keeps bringing him in. He makes mistakes, but he also plays well sometimes. So he's, like you're saying, he's a roller coaster of a player, because some days he's doing good and other days he's screwing up. So
hey,
where's your love affair? Yeah.
I just want to pause right here. Hang on a second. Something just popped into our chat that I think we got to talk about here. Apparently, some bad news here. Spanish Bull is an Orlando fan, but is a fan of ours as well. And apparently, his wife is writing to us. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to bring you the sad news about my husband, Henry, aka Spanish Bull. He just passed away yesterday night from COVID-19.
Oh man!
Just wanted to update you all because I know he used to watch this channel.
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. I don't know what to say. I've a loss of words because he was one of our biggest supporters. And with Ricky Ricardo, he'd always chime in and put in some questions and wow, man, that really hurts because especially because he was a great follower of this channel, and he was always saying that his wife was an Inter Miami fan.
Right.
He was an Orlando fan, so they always had that. That he said it was a conflict, and that he was probably going to have to sleep on the couch.
Right. So, right. We had a little fun with that because his wife being a Miami fan and him being
so our heart goes out to you. Because we were actually looking forward to meeting him because he was, such a supporter of this channel, and I know it's going to break Ricky Ricardo's heart as well because he was one of the people that kept the show going. So, our heart goes out to you. I'm sorry, I don't know your name to Spanish Bull's wife, but thank you for chiming in and letting us know what happened. So our condolences go out to you and your family, and wow, it's kind of devastating to hear.
Yeah, I'm just putting up some comments from some of our regular viewers as well, and they're shocked as well, and so thoughts and prayers across the board for
for Spanish
Bull's family. So yeah, that sucks. You always say a lot of people think. This COVID thing, that it's over, and we got to, it's time to get back to life, and we're, people forget it's still a thing, it's still a thing, and
I see people out there, in these watch parties and stuff, for the team or whatever. I've saw most people in the actual stadium wearing their mask, and it's very important for them to continue doing that. Some people lower their guard, and unfortunately, we got a lot of our leaders are also not wearing their mask. They should. Everybody should wear a mask until this thing's taken care of, because especially the older people, like you, Peter. They need to take care of themselves because man, you don't know, it could hit anybody. It hits them in different ways. I've known many people at my job who've gotten it, and it's tough. It's tough. People in my family have also gotten it. So, fortunately they've all survived, but they say it's like the worst flu ever. So you need to take care of yourself, guys. Really wear that mask. It doesn't take that much. Yes, it's a little hard to breathe in, but it's better to be safe than sorry. If you're going to be out in a place, especially that's closed up, wear your mask, guys, because it really hits home when somebody that that you have a relationship with and talk to, it gets to them. So again, take care of yourself, guys. Wear those masks.
Yeah, wear them. I mean, I was just in Disney last weekend, and you have to go walking around Disney with a mask, and yeah, it can be difficult because sometimes it's hot, but do it. Everywhere we go, I was all over town today. And you got to wear your mask. And that's actually something I was actually concerned about, because next Saturday I know there's a game, and we'll get back to all that because we're not going to focus. We want to. I think Spanish Bull would want us to talk about what he liked, right, and
right.
what he enjoyed, and the banter and the fun that we kind of have on this show. So we'll get right back to it. But I'm going to have a gathering in my house next weekend because it's my daughter's 16th birthday, and now we can't give her a big sweet 16 like we wanted to, but we're going to have like a few people. And my dad being one of them. And that's where I was like, you sure you want to come? Because if he's 81 years old, and I'm like, if you caught something from being here, like, we're not sick, but you never know. I went out to a store today. You never know what could happen from doing that. And I was like, you sure you want to come? He's like, yeah, I'll come. We'll be all right. I'm like, okay. But it's something you got to think about. Exactly. It's something you got to think about. So. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
All right. So thoughts and prayers to Spanish Bull and his family, and let's get back to what we do here. So, Ed, we were talking about the defense a little bit, and yeah, I think that's a problem. But you know what bugged me a lot about that game was the midfield. There was Higuain. You know what Higuain's number one play is on the field? You know what he does the most on the field?
He's been playing back. He
does that, but you know what his most common play is? It's this. Throwing his hands in the air, just frustrated because he's not getting the ball. He's not getting the touches. He's not. They do a lot of crosses and things like that, and nobody's playing the ball to his feet. Not enough, right? We're not with our midfield is not linking the ball to our forwards. Heck, Leandro Gonzalo Perez is the one that had to make that beautiful pass, which was for the goal, right? It was our defender, doing the midfield's job in a sense.
And to Breck Shea, who's not supposed to score, but he's been scoring a lot.
Yeah, Breck Shea. I mean, I think it was. In the broadcast, I think it was Ray Hudson who said that Breck Shea is going to be knocking on Paul McDonough's door talking about next year's contract because they got him on a budget for this year. They got him cheap for this year, but if they want to keep him around next year, Breck Shea has every right to ask for a real deal contract.
More dinero, because he's definitely shown that he's not done. He's still somewhat young. He could still play a few more years.
Yeah.
And he's shown that he's still got that talent that that made him go to Europe.
Yep.
He didn't go too well over there, but he played for the national team for a couple of years, and he was. I think everybody expected more out of him, but he still got gas in that tank. It's kind of like who was I looking at the other day? There was something on the news about what's the next Pelé? What was that kid's name? Who just was like the best player. Adu.
Right.
He just signed for a team in Europe, and we'll see how that goes because, he was another guy that everybody thought was just going to destroy everything. He was going to be, the next Pelé. Remember, he did those commercials, right. And he started really young in Major League Soccer, and he went to Europe, and he just basically did the European tour, played for just about every team you can imagine, and was never able to mesh with any team well. So, and he's, I think, in his 30s as well. So, so Brick Shea has a good future still ahead of him. He's still young enough to make, an impact, especially with Inter Miami, if they decide to renew his contract and, definitely give him some more dinero. But
they got to renew his contract. I mean, at this point, he's your number 2 goal scorer, right? You've got to renew his contract. I mean, and reward him for that. It's just like Jazz Fusion says here, is that Shea and Morgan are the bright lights for this team.
That's the truth. Morgan has just been the most consistent. Everybody would agree. I don't think he's going to be in this team for very long. Somebody's going to be wanting to pick him up back in Europe because he's playing that well, and he's the top player game after game. Even though the rest of the team, we can say has been sucking, he's definitely been doing his job, and nobody could hold anything against him because he's the only player out there doing anything, scoring, passing, you name it. That right band is all his. So that right flank is all his. He's been a monster there. So don't expect him to be around for too long. Peter, I was going to ask you. Sorry, I knew you were going to say something. Pizarro, after the last 2 games, we had a 2-game winning streak. We're like, well, we don't need Pizarro anymore. That last game, it looked like we did need him.
Yeah, we did. That's why I think you sent me a chat after one of the games saying something about Pizarro, and I was like, hold on, not so fast. Let's give it a few games. We definitely need him. I mean, he adds so much creativity. He does hold on to the ball a little bit too much, and I know people have complained about that, and they're right. But he's creative, and he's not afraid to dribble and work in tight spaces, and he could dribble that ball into the box and then flip it over to Higuain, and I think that can work well. Right now, that midfield with Ulloa and Trapp, it just doesn't really long term. It's worked 1 or 2 games here and there, but the two of them together just doesn't seem to work. So one of them's got to sit the bench, and more than likely it's Trapp, just because Alonso seems to favor Ulloa. Even though in the last game I would have sat Trapp and I would have sat Ulloa and kept Trapp in there a little bit longer and see how that would go. But so let's also talk about this, Ed, and I'll bring this up on the screen here. I want to share my screen. I want to this is one of the things that happen is this, Ed, and so after the game, and we're talking about during the game, but after the game, so this, a lot of people want to blame the referee. So that's one of the things you could possibly blame is the referee. He was not a good referee, right?
Right.
He made a lot of bad calls, no calls, wrong calls, what have you. Seemed to have an attitude at times when talking to players. Maybe the ego is there, but at the end of the day, he didn't. You could. I think Perez and everything's complaining here because he thought there should have been a penalty at the very end of the game, but he didn't lose the game for us. But this attacking the referee after the game apparently costed Higuain a red card.
Wow. That's going to hurt us for the next game, but it gives a chance for Robinson or for Carranza to make a difference at the next game. We're going to be hurting for that. So it's for the Orlando game that's coming up.
Yeah. Weekend. So no Higuain, and let's see if we can do this. And this is thanks to Franco Panizo. He shared this video. Let's watch this. Let's see if we can see it. So right there, you saw Higuain getting the red, because I never saw it, but I don't know if you guys could see that well enough. I'll replay it here. Higuain's still complaining as he walks back, and then he gets the red card. So, I mean, he just didn't stop. And in that case, I guess you left the referee no choice, because he was just kind of attacking the referee nonstop. And that's the thing is when we talk about a captain, he's our captain, and that's what your captain is acting like. Is that correct? I mean, is that what we want from our captain? And currently, that's who he is. He's our captain.
He should have walked away from it and whatever. I mean, he turned back and
he's hot-headed.
Yeah, Yeah, that's too bad. And also, a lot of these, top players from Europe, they come in here and they figure, MLS, refs don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They come from, better teams, so to speak. And so they look down on refs and people in this league, unfortunately. And, unfortunately, he got that card, and it's going to hurt us in the next game.
Yeah, Judge Dredd saying it's not very professional of Higuain to do that, but he is very passionate. That's one way. That's one way to say it.
He's passionate, but sometimes you just got to think, man. Think about the consequences of your actions, and a lot of people do that. They don't think about those things. They go with their impulses, and the impulses is what mess you up. Sometimes you just got to step back, think about what you're doing, and not make that mistake that's going to cost your team in the long run. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. That's why I always, in my personal life, I always think, okay, if I explode, if I make a bad scene, who's it going to benefit? Nobody. You got to think about all your actions, people. That's what it is.
Yeah. And I'm trying to find, I know we got a voicemail here, but for whatever reason, it's not appearing. So I'm not sure.
Not able to put it on.
Yeah, I might not be able to play it.
That's not good. But and what else can we talk about? I mean, the players have our defense has a thing to blame. Like I said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're going to do with this team. The coaches tried every defender that we have at this point. There was a point where we were talking about AJ De La Garza not being utilized.
Right.
He used him for a little bit. He didn't use him for this past game. I thought he did, somewhat well, considering he hadn't played that much. We're still missing Reyes. He's moved the players around a little bit in the back. It's tough, man. I don't know if what we can do to improve those minutes after we score a goal, because that's when the damage is being done. Lack of concentration, but dude, I'm getting tired of having to suffer those minutes and knowing that a goal's coming, Peter. It just seems like it's only a matter of time. They score a goal. I'm like, okay, all right, crossing your fingers that that they don't let this lead go, and it happens every game. And it's I know I'm not the only one that's tired. It just happens every time, and everybody is saying not again, no otra vez in Spanish. It happens every game.
All right, I got the voicemail now, Ed. Apparently, you know what? It was my fault.
Oh.
Hey, Peter and Uncle Ed and Ricky Ricardo and all the great fans watching. I think the issue is we went from, our Supporters Shield wonderful winning Fusion that was a well-organized team under Ray Hudson to this, a completely disorganized team. So going from first to worst is hard for a lot of fans to take. Plus, with the COVID, we've not been able to get to know any fans. And again, we've talked before, there was really not marketing buildup, and there was not fans, events for the fans to really engage and have these players become our own. Like everybody said, we hired the coach really late. We didn't even have to keep people until, the summer, which actually is the fall. And it's very, very disorganized. The defense is not even as bad as Swiss cheese. That would be like there's holes and they're letting people through. They're clumping up like a young kids game. Not to rag on the young kids, but that's the other thing. So many people play down here. A lot of pros are still down here, retired here, or whatnot. So the level of play when you go to your local pickup game is very good. And a lot of South Americans, Central Americans, Europeans, everybody knows how to mark up, play your position. So, what we put out on the field, it's got to be better than what our local pickup game is. Thanks, you guys. Great show. Bye.
All right. Thanks so much. One world, one goal. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, we should cut him some slack maybe here and there. But, hey, I want to play this comment from our buddy Jimmy Rooney, who is the Miami Fusion great, happens to be watching us on Facebook right now. And he says, with the current position of the team, Still involved in the playoff race, he can't get a red card after game. Can't afford to miss top players now, and he should know better with all his experience.
And coming from an ex-pro himself, of course, it makes sense, man.
And I just thought it was appropriate to play that because, One World Will Go was referencing that team. She said, we're used to that team in the old days, us older people, and Jimmy was the captain of that team.
What a team, man!
How cool is that Jim Rooney is sitting here is watching, and so there you go. And Judge Dredd's saying there's no point in assigning blame. The club will do as it sees fit, regardless of our opinions and such. All we could do is buckle up and hold. It's going to be a wild ride. Definitely a wild ride.
I
get his point. There's no point in assigning blame, but that's kind of what you do on a talk show, right? Like this is we got to talk about those kind of things. So
we got to blame somebody, right, Peter?
Well, yeah, but it's look. Most of us, if you're watching this show, you're a diehard fan, right? So you're in it no matter what, and you're going to be there no matter what. But still, we don't want to lose, and you want to analyze a little bit as to where that problem is. And I think a lot of blame has to go to the coach. He's the one that's sticking with certain players that maybe he shouldn't stick with. Granted, he got stuck with a bunch of players that he didn't pick. But I don't know. It's just,
It's tough. It's a tough thing to think about. I mean, because we're just fans. We can criticize all we want, but it's another thing to be actually somebody who's got some experience and try to work with what he's got. Now he's got to think about how he's going to work without having Higuain there. There's a player that could take, when he's playing, two people have to go after him, and that opens up the space for other players to get in. What's he going to do now?
And that's interesting is that the way the team is lined up on paper, it's three forwards, right? But really, I want to see two forwards in the middle. They're your classic 4-4-2 lineup, maybe something like that. And your midfield wings can go up and become forwards too at times, as long as they get back when they need to. But so Higuain is playing in the center all by himself. And so, he is attracting two or three people. And so he doesn't have a lot of space to operate if and when he gets the ball. And he doesn't get the ball nearly enough. So, and I know he can create space if he gets that ball. So I think one of our big problems besides the defense is clearly is our midfield. But why not put somebody next to him? They put Carranza in late in the game. Why not get Carranza in there earlier? Or Robbie Robinson. Robbie Robinson is a workhorse. And while he may not have that finishing touch yet, he could definitely hold the ball and get it to Higuain. I would like to see that. I mean, because Robbie Robinson has been really good when he's on the field. His issue is finishing. Well, Higuain can do those finishes for him.
Let him hold on to the ball, maybe with the ball.
Back to goal and hold the ball and then pass it off to Higuain.
That's what I was thinking too, man. You took those words right out of my mouth. Because he does that pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. And we know Jazz Fusion saying it's still forming a viable roster, work in progress. For sure, it's a work in progress. Speaking of work, this is just out of left field, but it's something I was noticing. As I was reading reports and just saying if there's any news. The one story that won't stop is Falcao coming to Inter Miami. So now, as a couple of days ago, there was another report on MLSsoccer.com about possibly Falcao coming to Inter Miami as early as January because he's not starting and he's not scoring goals at Galatasaray. I can't say it. I can't say. Yeah, I can't say
Galatasaray, something like that.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. I mean,
it would be interesting because we already signed Higuain as your DP, and you spent a bunch of money for him. Now you're going to bring in Falcao, who they're both fighting for the same position. Oh, and this isn't even to talk about the fact that we don't have a DP, but you could potentially free up a DP by renegotiating Pellegrini's contract next year. He's going to go. He doesn't deserve to be a DP right now. So you renegotiate his contract, and now you do have a DP, and you pay him with TAM money and all that stuff. He'll still make a bunch of money, but not DP.
Just not
packaged
DP
differently. They package it differently and stuff like that.
Yeah. maybe be able to do that with other incentives or whatever. They'll work around, to make it work where he would maybe not lose as much money. But right now, you're right. It's just a foul to bring him down and to put, if we do get Falcao, imagine that lineup, man. I mean, right there, that would be devastating because they could each, take two guys, two defenders with them, open up space for the other guy. I mean, it would be lethal up there. With Pizarro in the back, behind them. That would be incredible. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, sorry about that. It was Footbol. Yeah.
Jet Pancake is saying, if we bring in Falcao, what happens with Agudelo, Robinson, and Carranza? Do one of them have to go? Agudelo goes. That's the one for sure. If we have to get rid of one of them, it's Agudelo, just to free up roster space. I mean, he's a player that hasn't really blossomed anywhere. He's done okay for us at times. I don't think you get rid of Carranza because you think he's got future talent. So you're still going to hold on to him for at least another year. And Robinson was cheap. I mean, he's a MLS draft pick so you got him cheap. And here's the problem. What Jazz Fusion says. All that firepower and nobody get them the ball.
That's the thing.
And that's what I'm saying. The midfield, I was complaining previously that Matuidi needs to step up more. And in that Atlanta game, he really did. That probably was his best game ever. But again, that's Atlanta. Atlanta is not what they used to be. Atlanta is a cellar dweller right now this season, just like we are.
That's funny because you mentioned that when you were on the Atlanta fan TV thing, that they're not the team we expected to play against. We thought that the actual competition was going to be Atlanta. It turned out to be Orlando. So that's one of the things that I'm kind of, how soccer is, from season to season, even though sometimes you have most of the players, their level could go down. And that's soccer for you. But I'm sorry, you were saying, Peter, I kind of threw you off your game.
No, it's fine. No, it just we need something better in the midfield. But anyways, Ed, we could go on and on about who's to blame. At the end of the day, you got to even ask a question. Paul McDonough, who brought in all these players, we've talked about him a lot on here. So, is it his fault? Is it the owner's fault? Is it the coach's fault? Is it the players? I mean, it's a little bit of everything. Obviously, they're going to have another year to figure this out, right? So that they're going to tinker with it a little bit in the off season. I don't think. Before we move on to another topic, do you think we have a shot? Mathematically, I think we still have a shot to make the playoffs, right?
We do, yeah.
But do we really have a shot? Do we really have a shot?
If we can't get that defense to be able to hold off the other teams and not let them score after we score or we get a lead, then I don't think we've got a chance. We've won a couple of games. That was good because it knows we know we could at least get some wins. But Peter, man, this is tough, man. I can't really say if we're going to do it. This is a team that you can't really put your finger on and say we're going to make it to the playoffs because one day they play well, the next day they don't. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, and next week's game against Orlando, remember, Orlando's one of the best teams in the league right now. They're not the old Orlando. Beating Orlando is a tall task right now. And missing and Pizarro. I don't think Pizarro is still. He's back, but he's doing this 14 days of quarantine. So I don't think he's available. I don't know what day he came back, but I don't imagine he's available for the Orlando game either. So we're without him. So we're talking about putting in Carranza or Robbie Robinson because we have no choice, or Agudelo right now because you have no choice. You have to because your DPs are not available. So yeah. Jonathan Carranza is asking, what do we need to improve on to have a shot at making the playoffs? To me, it's two things. It's the defense and the midfield. But as much as we can blame the defense, sometimes they're put in undue pressure because of that midfield. But then sometimes they make dumb mistakes. I mean, the goal that was scored was, I mean, a bad slide by I think Figal, who went in and didn't have to, and so there's a calamity of errors quite often whenever there's a goal. It's not just one thing; it's a calamity, and so. Yeah. So I think it's
3 defenders close to the ball, and there was one that wasn't even marking his guy. So,
but what's amazing is it is like everybody's saying, it's just minutes of not paying attention, right? You're losing focus because they'll play so well through so much of the game, and they really start. When Matuidi is playing well, when he's involved, his passes are fast and they're good for the most part. He's a letdown to me as well, but his game against Atlanta was awesome. His game against Montreal's, he was when he got the ball, he made some good passes. I just don't think he gets the ball enough himself. But he's that midfield. So, anyways,
I think you pretty much put your finger on it when it came to Trapp and Uyol. There's something there. I think, like you said, only one of them should probably play, not both. It just doesn't seem to work when they're both together.
Yeah, and Jet Pancake is saying he doesn't see what Uoa brings to us that is worth him starting and playing 90 minutes every time. So it's funny, is sometimes I think Uoa is doing great and other times not so much, right? So, he has his ups and downs.
Like Sweat.
Yeah, Sweat. Yeah, exactly. So
what can we do?
I think the problem of having Trapp and UO, they try to cover the same ground. They try to do similar things. And a one world, one goal, I think she has a good point that we were a little bit better when AJ De La Garza was in.
That's the thing. He's a top player, won tons of championships. I just think he's just not using them. The coach has his favorites, and maybe AJ is just not one of them. And I think that's hurting us. I didn't see him play bad either. It's just, what the coach thinks he likes better.
Yeah. And this coach does seem to, it's funny is this was, I think, we could do a whole show just on this, but maybe this is an off-season topic when we're looking for things to talk about. But one of the things he doesn't do a lot is sub. He doesn't use all of his subs. They can use 5 subs. And that's where I think a fun topic to talk about in a future episode is that 5 subs and should it be kept? I like it, but Diego Alonso sometimes doesn't even use 3, right? So sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, and when he does, he's putting in subs at the very last minutes. Older Higuain, he gets in at the end of the game. I know he's older, but come on, he was a great player. You got to get him in earlier.
Older Higuain, because that's we got to call him old. Now if there's 2 Higuains, we're gonna have to say Gonzalo or I'm sorry,
or Federico. Was it Federico?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's Federico. But senior or junior.
Yeah, there you go.
but he doesn't get in. He doesn't get in early enough. I think he still has something in the tank, and he was good when he was with Columbus.
Yeah.
But bottom line is Alonso doesn't seem to want to use his subs, and he wants to. And sometimes you see a coach tinker with the lineup too much, and we complain about that. He seems to stick with a certain lineup, and that's good. It makes them gel together and all that. But when it's not working, I want to see a change.
Of course. By the way, I got to mention the cool Strikers jersey you got going.
Yeah. Bringing out the old, but not that old.
The old school. I got to start doing that too, man. I've been wearing a lot of Inter Miami lately.
This is one of those NASL, the newer NASL. So I've got, as part of my home chores, I was going through the garage and I found when I moved, I had put all my old soccer jerseys in a big plastic bin. And I had not seen it in the last several months and found it today. And so I was like, let me pull out one of the old ones. I'll wear another old shirt next week, but
sounds
the
good.
The only ones I had were Inter Miami shirts. So, but now I found my collection of old jerseys.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the old timers like us are going to definitely appreciate you wearing. Even though the Strikers isn't too far back, but
no, this is the later incarnation of the Strikers, so it's not super old Strikers, but still. One World, One Goal says, Ed, wear your old Fusion gear.
I will. I have to do that. And Peter's got some too.
He's got some.
It kind of sucks because I've given so much stuff away, and I had Fusion stuff, Fusion jerseys that people have asked me for. before. That's why, like I had a lot of jerseys from my team in Ecuador, Barcelona. I gave a lot of shirts away. I had some really old ones, and now I wish I hadn't given them away.
Yeah, I haven't given anything away. As far as jerseys, they don't take up a lot of space. So, I haven't given any of those things away. So I have some Orlando. I'm sorry, Orlando. I just saw a comment about Orlando. I have some old Fusion stuff. But the problem with those Umbro shirts, man, they're huge. Those shirts back then were giant. And, and not only did I lose weight, they're just big in general.
I've got some. Mine are big too, so.
I had a few fat years then too. I have an extra large Miami Fusion shirt as well. That, man, if I put that on, it'll look like I'm swimming in that thing, drowning in it.
Well, you should try it on anyway, so people can, make fun of you.
Okay, I'll do that. I even have a Fusion a Fusion cap.
Nice, dude. That one even that's even better. I know I had one, but I have no idea what happened to it. So
my wife found it. I didn't even know where it was. She just found it. She goes, "You want to keep this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll keep that."
Of course. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, so I wanted to touch on a couple of other things too. One of which is, so there's a report that next year, so Inter Miami, Fort Lauderdale CF, their lower division team plays in USL, and MLS several years ago had created a partnership basically with USL, and so they every MLS team was obligated to have a partnership or own their own team in USL. That was the reserve league because MLS owned their own reserve league for a year. It didn't work. So then they made this partnership with USL, which this partnership really is, we could go into a big thing, but this partnership is partially what led to the demise of this NASL, this version of the NASL, because that partnership really hurt them.
There's been a plot just to do this and, get over NASL and have USL become the second.
There's so much we could talk about the demise of the NASL and the conspiracy theories and all that stuff and the lawsuits and things like that. And there's truth to some of that. There is truth. But anyways, this sounds like this partnership with MLS might be coming to an end because MLS is rumored to be creating their reserve league again in 2021. And so far, 3 teams have announced that 2020 will be their last year in USL, and that's Orlando, Philadelphia, and Portland. And this year, only 14 of the MLS teams operated their own affiliate in the USL. So there's several teams that just didn't participate this year or partnered maybe with another team. But as far as owning their own clubs in USL, they're not doing it. And keep in mind, when you join USL Championship, I think if I remember correctly, I think the entrance fee in there for a year annual fee is somewhere in the 500,000 range, something like that. So you have to pay into the league a good chunk of money every single year. And for League One, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 150,000. So they don't want to spend that money if they don't have to. And then, it got to the situation also where USL doesn't necessarily want MLS anymore, at least not in the championship. So it was interesting because they were USL needed MLS, right, to prop them up for a while because teams were coming and going. Well, they got that prop, and now they're a strong, healthy league and constantly adding new teams. And MLS, doesn't really value their USL championship teams. They don't promote it. They don't really care about selling tickets. They don't care if anybody shows up. And the other clubs in the USL, they're treating it like it's their real team, and they're promoting it. And they want to make it look good, and they want to make it sound good, and they want a good product and all that kind of stuff. And the MLS teams just don't care because they just want it for development. So USL is a little bit trying to put pressure on MLS to push them down to League One. Some teams are in League One, but a lot of teams are still operating a championship team. So as of next year, it's looking like Reserve League. And the interesting thing is each MLS team will have the option to join the MLS Reserve League or continue having a USL championship team. But I would imagine pretty much all going to opt into the Reserve League.
So that's one of the things that I thought when they created the reserve league. I thought back in, it was a few years back.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe that was the beginning of what could have been an MLS2, which was something that I think we've talked about before in the past, that might be a way for them to create a true second division where they could, be MLS could have relegation within the league, maybe using the reserves or something like that.
But that would only work if really, they were owned by separate people. They're totally independent teams, right? Because you're going to have New England Revolution 2 get promoted into MLS with promotion relegation, and so you got New England Revolution playing New England Revolution 2 in a game.
But who's gonna be interested in watching those reserve games?
Nobody really. But then again, nobody really cares about going to see the USL Championship games either for the MLS teams. Nobody attends those games. Some teams actually package it. I think LA Galaxy might be one of the teams, or maybe it was Red Bull. But there's a couple of MLS teams where they package the USL Championship games into their season tickets. So you buy a season ticket for the MLS team, you get to go to all the USL Championship games for free. I like that idea. I would go to some of them. I don't know if I'll go to all of them, but I would go to some of them for sure. But
with the bigger teams.
Yeah. But they don't. So people aren't going now. So why spend $500,000 to join a league that you're not promoting? You're not getting any ticket sales for, or anything like that. So why be in that league? Another thing is there's some MLS teams that did not own their own USL Championship team. They were an affiliate with a team, and some of those teams are on the other coast. So they weren't even able to call back players like the way Inter Miami has called back like McCoon constantly. They've been able to do that because they're in the same town, they're in the same city. But if you're across the country, it's not so easy to go and call in one of your players back to the first team so easily, because now he's got to hop on a plane. He's going to take whatever. So it takes time.
You just brought up McCoon, and what did you think about him in that game that he played? We weren't able to be on the show. We didn't have the show last week because we were. We had a conflicting schedules, but we didn't get to talk about McCoon's performance. Do you remember how he did, Peter?
He was okay. He made a couple mistakes, but
he wasn't.
It wasn't.
In my opinion, I think he looked bad. I just think he was. He needs his time with Fort Lauderdale CF for sure. He needs some more playing time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember back. I thought I remember him making a couple of good plays that I was like, okay. But then I thought of making a number of plays where I was going,
Yeah, where you're like, ooh, those are kind of amateurish, So he needs to. I just thought he deserves to be down and with Fort Lauderdale CF. He still needs some practice. He still needs some time playing, and the time that he wasn't going to get with Inter Miami.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's going to be playing with Fort Lauderdale CF maybe a little longer because of that. And but what'll be interesting to see is Fort Lauderdale CF rolled into this new reserve league next year. So we haven't heard anything from Inter Miami if they're going to continue to having the team in League One or if they're going to roll them up into the reserve league. So that'll be something interesting. I thought that was a kind of an interesting topic. I love those kind of conversations and starting up of new leagues and things like that. I think it's super interesting. But one thing, I didn't plan on talking about this. We can go into this more detail at another show, but we could talk about it just for a minute or two. Anthony Omelas, welcome to the show. He says, do you think Inter Miami will sign some kind of TV deal? I'm thinking Fox Sports Florida or something. It's not a good idea. It's only on in Miami. Should be all over South Florida. So they do have a TV deal, though. You just don't like the TV deal. That's what it is. They did sign a TV deal. And the TV deal is local CBS station, which includes My 33. And I get why you don't like it. I've seen non-stop comments from fans, people trying to be Inter Miami fans. They really want this to be their team, but they happen to live in West Palm Beach or they happen to live in Naples. And so they're out of the TV market, but they're not far enough out of the market for ESPN Plus. So ESPN Plus still says they're a local market. Now people have gone on tell them, oh, you got to buy a VPN and you got to do all this other stuff to mask where you're coming from. But you shouldn't have to jump through those hurdles. And I get that. When I was on the Atlanta show, and I did bring that up. I don't know if it was on the show or in our pre or post conversation, but we talked about that. And AJ over there, and Atlanta was commenting that they have the same problem in Atlanta, and he thinks most MLS teams have a similar problem. It's just the kind of TV deals that MLS teams get. Interestingly enough, though, the Miami Fusion back in the day were on Sun Sports, I think it is, which is now, I think, Sunshine Sports or something like that.
Yeah, Sunshine. Yeah, I think it was Sunshine. It was back then. It was a Florida channel.
Right. Well, I think that is now Fox Sports Florida. I think. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure that became Fox Sports. But so that is a Florida channel. So that would mean anybody in Florida. But then you'd have people complaining that you can't get that channel. Like, for example, for me, I don't have cable. I'm like a lot of people are nowadays that cut the cord. Yeah. And
because you really don't need it. I don't.
Right,
dude. I watch YouTube more. I watch, Netflix. I don't have time to watch TV that much. So,
right. Well, it's not even a matter of having time to watch TV. I find time to watch TV. I just finished The Boys, and
what you think about that?
I did like it. It's disturbing show.
Oh, it is.
Really disturbing. I should not be watching that. I am not. That's not.
You're a God-fearing man.
Yes, sir. I should not be watching that show, but it is interesting. It's good and it's bad.
Yeah,
they could reel it in a little bit, but my God, that one scene with
that Highland, the Homelander at the very end.
That's like that scene that you see Batman do all the time, except
he was doing something.
Homelander took it a little far. No spoilers here because if you haven't seen it, but it's interesting. You'll be like, what? Yeah. It's a classic superhero pose, but man.
Right. But yeah, it's out there. But
all right. Anyways,
back on soccer. Yeah.
Anyways, for somebody like myself that has cut the cord, I would not be able to get that channel. Right. So then you got people like me that are going to be complaining, and I'm not saying they have to please me, but because I'll find a way to watch it, I'll figure it out. But it shouldn't be so difficult, and I get where people are coming from this. Something else I was reading about regarding TV deals is that apparently MLS has been encouraging teams to not sign long-term TV deals because their TV contract expires in the next year or two. I don't remember exactly if it's 2021 or 2023, somewhere in the very near future, the TV deals that MLS have expires. So, of course, they want to get a bigger TV contract, but their TV numbers don't necessarily warrant it, right? Because they're not getting huge viewership ratings, but you want to get more numbers. So what they're thinking about doing is somehow in that TV package is rolling in the local broadcast deal as well.
Interesting.
So they're encouraging local teams to not sign long-term local deals so that MLS as a corporate entity can manage that.
Oh, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, they have a whole package for we'll see how that works out, man. It could work out to our benefit, and maybe not. We'll have to see.
And off topic again. We're at the end of the show, but this is funny. Footballer nonstop on you. He is on you, Ed. Peter, since Uncle Ed seems not to embrace the Robin title at heart, consequently, you are now baptized as the Green Hornet of football, while Uncle Ed is Cato, not necessarily Cato Kalin.
Well, I'll take the Cato one. He's very much more.
I like the Cato Kalin.
Cato Kalin.
People that remember that one.
But Cato's not bad. I mean, he was the acrobatic guy. He was basically doing all the work while Green Hornet was getting, all the attention. So
well, that's the old show, right? But did you watch the newer movie? That was
I never did.
That Seth Rogen movie that came out like 6-7 years ago, whatever. I actually watched it again not that long ago because I didn't remember it. It's not that good of a movie, but Green Hornet and that is just a doofus. Yeah, it's Seth Rogen, right? So he's just a doofus, and Cato Kalin makes him. Wait a minute, I don't think I like this now.
It's pretty good, actually. I kind of like this. I like that one. So
yeah, I'm not sure I like that. Yo, that Green Hornet reference just got real. Judge Dredd says.
Sure did.
Judge Dredd is saying you're the Green Lantern.
Well, I like that one even better. Green Lantern was pretty powerful.
But Green Lantern is like
which
the
version?
worst. Well, the movie was like the worst movie.
They didn't make justice for it. It's even the actors make fun of that one now. So
even I heard that for the Justice League Snyder cut, they want to bring in the Green Lantern. And so they wanted to bring in, what's his name? The actor Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds is like, hell no. I'm not putting on that. I'm not putting on that costume again. And he never really put on the costume because it was all digital, and that's what made it look so stupid.
Yeah. They thought that was going to work, and it kind of didn't. But yeah, man, we'll see what.
Yeah. So, anyways, we could talk a lot about TV contracts and things like that in another show. That'd be fun to kind of deep dive a little bit. And for that, I actually have an idea for maybe a guest for that. So one of our friends, somebody who watches the shows, actually was watching it a little while ago. I don't know if he's still on, but World Soccer Talk. So go to worldsoccertalk.com, and they are kind of like your cord cutter soccer fans website. So we could actually talk to Christopher there, maybe bring him on and talk about TV deals and stuff, because that's kind of his website. It talks about TV contracts and things like that, and basically how do you find the games, and actually it was interesting in the article, an article about, and so we didn't even get to some of the topics, but Orlando's for sale, guys. Orlando might be sold, and there was an article on Forbes that referenced World Soccer Talk, so that was kind of cool. He's a friend of ours, and he's a local guy that's got a pretty good website.
Yeah, so it's really good. Guys, go check that out.
WorldSoccerTalk.com. Go check it out. But so real quick, Orlando's for sale, and they apparently got to buy it.
How much? Peter?
Apparently, it's $400 million.
Wow, is stadium included?
Not sure. The details are very, very loose. They were questioning, does it include the stadium? Does it include the NWSL team? I mean, you imagine it does. Flavio apparently was only looking at this as an investment. He's not a local owner. He still lives in Brazil. So maybe if they could find a local owner, it'd be good for the team. So have local ties and all that would be better for the team. So good for them. Good for them. So. Off Judge Dredd, bringing it off topic again, trying to make this show go on longer. Off topic again. Who is stoked for Mandalorian Season 2? Starts on the 30th, y'all. I'm excited for it. I was actually rewatching it recently because I saw the trailer for the new one, and I was like, man, let me rewatch the Mandalorian Season 1.
It's looking good, and they're talking about Boba Fett coming back, and they're talking about all these different characters that would make a show on its own if they wanted to do it, but it looks like they're going to come to the Mandalorian. So,
yeah, I don't know. Who knows where it's all going to go? But just more detail on that is Disney actually came out recently and said that their main focus in the future is not going to be theatrical releases or anything. They're saying they're 100% focused on Disney Plus right now and streaming. So their main focus is streaming. So you might see these big budget Marvel movies or Star Wars movies going directly to streaming instead of going into the theaters, or deciding to do a TV series like The Mandalorian. So where people got upset and mad about Rise of Skywalker in that whole trilogy, nobody seems to be getting mad about The Mandalorian. So they seem to strike the right chord with The Mandalorian, where they missed on the newer trilogy that they created with Force Awakens and all. But so it's interesting. And there's apparently a new Star Wars. There's the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's going to be coming out. There's the series based on the character from Rogue One, the Latino guy. I don't remember the character's name right now. But so there's a lot of Star Wars coming to Disney Plus. So yeah, good stuff.
Wow, it's going to be good, especially for a Disney fan like you, Peter. You love that stuff, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I could do a whole nother show on that. We can keep going for another hour if we want. But let's start wrapping it up, Ed. Any last thoughts before we go? And then the team's playing Orlando
Well, we don't know the full
Saturday.
details on whether they're going to let fans in. They, this past game in midweek, they let some supporters in. I think it was like a test that they were doing to see
that pissed off some supporters. Let me tell you, I got messages, personal text messages from several supporters saying, "What the hell?"
Yeah. Because there's a lot of season ticket holders that felt they were left out. They felt that, hey, I paid, my money. I want to be in there. Everybody wants to be in there. I think it was more of a test to see how that would go. I don't know the results. We haven't talked to anybody from the team yet on whether it worked or didn't work. But, hopefully they'll let some fans in and it's on the weekend. So.
Well, also they gave away those tickets, so I'm curious because really it's up to Broward County as far as allowing fans in the stands, and so it's up to Broward County. So I'm wondering, did Inter Miami find a loophole? Because hey, we didn't sell tickets to any fans; we just invited some people in. So maybe that's a loophole.
And it wasn't many fans; it was only at 360, I believe.
Right.
So that's an area that has space for 3,000. So they were, spread apart, and we'll see what the team comes up with. If they let fans back in, if the city gives permission for them to get all the people in, probably 20 or 25% of the stadium will be able to go in.
Yeah, hopefully. Unfortunately for me, no matter what, it's going to be hard to watch the game because it's my daughter's 16th birthday party. Not the birthday is actually a couple days later, but the party is this Saturday. And so, why did they put the game on at 3:00 in the afternoon? Who wants to play soccer in a 3:00? That's the hottest time of the day. You know that, right, Ed? Hottest time of the day is 3 p.m. Who the heck is playing a game at 3 p.m. and
why against Orlando, who's used to the temperature? I mean, you could say, okay, maybe from somebody from up north, Vancouver or something, where it's colder now, and they'll feel the heat. Orlando's used to it. They've got almost the same temperature that we do.
It's even hotter up there because they don't have any breeze in the middle of the state.
So they're going to be like, oh, nice breeze. We can play this. So it doesn't make any sense, Peter.
And it really affects me watching the game. I mean, that's the more important thing. Were they not thinking about me enough? I mean, that's
why do they? Yeah, come on, guys. Peter Brown's not able to watch the game now because of you.
No. I'll have to try to kind of sneak it in here and there because I'll have some people over here and I got to give it to.
You'll be like, hey, how you doing? And
3 p.m. is
phone over here.
It's just terrible. So, anyways, terrible. All right, everybody. There's some of you guys that just came in late. Baldwin 4 was asking about the coach's tightrope. Yep, we did talk about that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. I don't care if you joined late. Jose Velasquez is asking when the sponsors deal's coming out for the jersey next year. So I mean, some of these we can talk about. It's no chance this year. Maybe they have a deal close, but it's not happening this year. There's no point in doing it this year. So at this point, you just wait. So, anyways, hey, let's wrap this up. I'm afraid I don't want to do a prediction. I don't want to do a prediction for the Orlando game. I just want to hopefully I can watch it. But I'm too scared. I'm too scared to give a prediction.
Peter. I'm going to give a prediction. It's going to be 7-0 Inter Miami.
All right, so it's not a realistic prediction.
Why
so that's the same as me not giving a prediction, right?
Wayne's not playing, but we don't need it, and we're going to play with two forwards with Robinson and Carranza, and they're going to destroy it.
All right, Ed. I speaking of sponsor jerseys, I saw a comment on one of our videos, and we have to talk about this next week. I'm gonna leave the show on a teaser. Next week, Ed, we have to talk about your jersey. People are asking. They watched our construction. Our tour, and they saw your number on the back of your jersey, and people want to know. So let's talk about that next week.
It's also my Twitter and Instagram. So if you guys don't know what number that is, you'll see it. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, Ed, and people want to know why. So, hey, if you haven't watched already, watch our I keep wanting to call them construction videos, our tour videos. Getting a lot of good comments on that. Thank you for all those great comments. The 4th video will be coming out this week, Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll put it out. Yep, and so that'll wrap up the series. And then after that, we'll put out the whole thing all over again, the full complete package, in case anybody wants to watch it uncut from beginning to end and relive our experience all over again. You get a good idea as to where, the section 115, where where we're sitting. You get an idea of, if you're one or two sections over, you could still get a decent idea of what your view might look like. So, and we really do show you a lot in that stadium. So go take a look at those videos. A lot of fun to make, and so they'll be coming out this week. Also, again, thanks to Caneswear. Go to caneswear.com or go to the store in Davie. Buy all your Inter Miami stuff there. And thanks to Vargas Law. Any immigration questions you may have, go to vargaslaw.com and call Federico. Also mention Futbol Miami TV with any sponsor. Ed, I'll see you next week.
We'll be here. Check you guys later.
All right. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you next week.